You won't see Northeast Metro Atlanta on any of the cheapest places to live list, but compared to many other metro areas, it's surprisingly affordable. Well, it depends on which suburb you choose. Hi, I'm Sarah Maslowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a local real estate agent right here in the Metro Atlanta area, and my team and I specialize in helping clients just like you relocate here to Georgia. There are certain pockets of the Northeast Metro Atlanta area that have some steep home prices, but there are so many other costs that are significantly more affordable here in Georgia than other states that help offset some of those high home prices. So what do you need to know about the cost of living here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area? Let's dig into it. One of the biggest things that you need to know about the cost of living in our area is that home prices vary drastically depending on the town. More expensive areas like Alpharetta and Johns Creek come with a premium price tag. Johns Creek average sales price is often over $1 million, and Alpharetta currently has an average home price of $843,000. These towns have amazing amenities and they have prestige. They also have a significantly high price tag to boot. You will have an incredibly hard time finding a home in the $300,000 to $400,000 range unless you're open to a townhome in these areas. But these are just a few of the great towns here. You still have towns like Cumming and Buford where the average price is in the $600,000 range. They have incredible schools and great amenities, but they have a more palatable price tag for sure. Gainesville is going to be right in the middle of the road, right around $500,000, which is in line with the median sales price of the greater Atlanta area, which sits right at around $500,000. You will also have more affordable towns like Lawrenceville and Monroe, which are currently in the $430,000 price point. A good rule of thumb here, though, is that if you're going to be on the north side of Atlanta, within the metropolitan area, the threshold for a single-family home is going to be around $300,000 or above. You can go very far north and find options less than this, or you can go on the south side of Atlanta where homes will be a lot more affordable. However, the south side of the city is going to be very different from the north side of the city. The Northeast Metro is definitely more developed. You've got more job opportunities, highly ranked schools, and a bigger population. That's just a little bit of the reasoning as to why it's going to cost you significantly more to be on this side of the city. Based on your budget, I can help you determine what areas will have the best options available for you, because this is one of the biggest factors that distinguishes each town from one another. Home prices have drastically increased over the last 5 years, and this certainly just hasn't affected the Northeast Metro Atlanta area. But places that have seen high influxes of people moving to, like those expensive towns I listed off earlier, they've definitely seen a higher impact price-wise. If you're curious to know more about the difference between north of Atlanta and south of Atlanta, you can check out this video next. Now, if you want to be in the city itself, you're going to find much higher priced homes for single-family homes. A house inside the perimeter of Atlanta is going to cost you exponentially more than if you picked it up and moved it to the suburbs. I recently talked about why so many people are leaving the city and moving to the suburbs, and home prices and affordability are, of course, one of the biggest factors here. Now let's talk taxes and insurance. Of course, these also are going to play into the overall cost of living, and these are the two of the biggest things that help offset the cost of homes here in Georgia. Our property taxes are generally lower than the national average, usually around 1% of a home's value, and that number varies based on county and city. This is really helpful in areas like Cumming, which we just talked about, how it's on the pricier side of things, but it's located in Forsyth County, which has an effective property tax rate of 0.7%. So even less than that 1% marker. Out of the 50 states ranked highest to lowest, Georgia falls right in the middle, ranked at 25, which means there's a good chance you're going to pay less here for property taxes than you do in the state you currently live in. If you're a retiree, Georgia offers some really great senior tax benefits. Each county is different, offering different exemptions at different ages, but they typically kick in at age 62, 65, or 70. Now, even if you aren't 62 or older, our property taxes here are still much more bearable than so many other states. Since your property taxes are paid monthly as part of your mortgage payment, that is if you have a mortgage, this is something that greatly affects your monthly payment. For seniors, when it comes to your property taxes, you could expect to have some pretty great exemptions that are going to factor into the overall cost of the property taxes that you're going to pay yearly. Some counties are very generous in their exemptions, and it will cut your property tax bill in half. Something else that will impact your monthly payment is going to be your homeowner's insurance. Here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, this typically runs between $1,800 and $2,800 a year, depending upon the value of the home, the age of the home, and the coverage level. That's higher than some parts of the Southeast, but still far below areas like Florida, where insurance can easily exceed $6,000 a year due to the hurricane risk. I've talked to many Floridians who are ready to get out of the state because their monthly payment has skyrocketed due to their insurance premiums being through the roof. I saw an article recently that said 1 in 5 Floridians do not have insurance because they cannot afford it. That's just so crazy and so risky, and it's understandable why people don't want to put themselves in that situation and choose to live in an area like Georgia where prices are nothing like this. Now, one thing you are definitely going to need while living here in Georgia is you're going to need a car, and that's going to play into your cost of living. We are not a walkable public transportation reliant metro area whatsoever. So you're definitely going to have a car, and that's going to factor into the cost that you're going to have to pay. Here in Georgia, the average gas price is right around $2.81 a gallon, with the national average being over $3 a gallon. So that's at least one consolation prize for having to drive everywhere. You don't have to have your car inspected every year like you do in some states. You can drive till the wheels fall off of it here in Georgia in most counties. This also means you don't have to have it inspected anytime you buy or sell a car like you have to do in many states. I will be honest, as a resident of Hall County, I did not realize that emissions testing was a thing here in Georgia because it's not required in Hall County. In fact, it's only required in 13 out of the 153 counties here, though many of those are right here in the North Metro area like Gwinnett, Forsyth, and Fulton. We also don't have toll lanes that you're required to use on the interstate like you do in states like Illinois. We do have toll roads, but you can choose to use them and pay, and it's called the Peach Pass lane. A Peach Pass is a very handy if you regularly travel into the city, and that is something that is going to usually move you a lot quicker, and you can drive right past the traffic that is piling up. Of course, it's something you'll have to pay for. When it comes to utilities here in Georgia, our electricity rates are right around the national average, but heating and cooling bills usually spike in summer and winter months since homes rely heavily on HVAC systems here because it gets so hot in Georgia during the summer, and every home here will have air conditioning. Fun fact, you can't get a mortgage on a home here in Georgia if it does not have HVAC, so this is something that you don't have to worry about while you're out searching. From talking with my clients, they are surprised at how much more affordable their electricity bills are here compared to where they moved from. Now, when it comes to natural gas and water, they're often a little bit cheaper than in the northern states, which helps balance out monthly expenses as well. Depending upon the size of the house you're trying to cool and how you keep the air conditioning, you can expect to pay in the $200 range up to $300 if you have a really big house in the summer months because of the AC. In more mild months, that same size home can expect a power bill in the high 100s to low 200s, although this definitely varies, especially if you have a newer build construction, those are going to be lower. Some folks with smaller homes and gas fireplace like to rely on them to warm their home instead of having the heat running all winter. Gas is deregulated here in Georgia, meaning that you can use any company that will service your home, so you can shop around for the best rate and program. Many companies often offer a seasonal program since fireplaces are one of the only items sometimes in a home that actually uses the gas, and this is obviously only used in the winter. Many cities and counties here in the Northeast Metro do not include trash pickup in their taxes, so this is something you'll most likely need to set up service for on your own. There are a lot of different companies that will do this, and it's going to cost you around $25 a month unless you opt to take your trash to a recycling center in your town or on your own for free. Something else you'll want to budget for here is pest control. Homes in Georgia are very prone to termites, so you'll want to stay on top of quarterly service to avoid any major issues. This will usually cost you a few $100s per year, but keep you from paying thousands down the road, and it'll also keep your house free of creepy callers, which we still have plenty of here in Georgia. Lastly, something you're going to need to consider here in Georgia is your HOA fees. Here in North Georgia, if you live in a community with a price point of around $400,000 or up, you can typically expect to pay anywhere between $600 to $1,200 a year in HOA fees for a single family home. Of course, if you're in a gated community or a country club, you can expect to pay significantly more than that, closer to a few $1,000s per year. Another place you're going to pay higher HOA fees for is in a townhome community, where these fees goes towards taking care of your yard maintenance for you. And sometimes that maintenance also covers your roof and exterior maintenance. Of course, if you want to be in an active adult community with every amenity and club you can think of, plus have your yard taken care of for you, this is going to cost you around $2,000 to $3,000 per year, which if you're comparing to other states, it's still extremely affordable. The national average for monthly HOA fees is right around $200 a month for a total of $2,400 a year. That is substantially higher than the average price here in Georgia. And like I said, this is more in line with what you would expect to pay in a 55+ community with all the bells and whistles. Overall, the cost of living in Northeast Metro Atlanta is heavily influenced by housing costs, property taxes, and insurance, and that is closely tied to the location. You have towns that are on the higher end with all the amenities and prestige, but at a much higher price point. You also have a lot more affordable areas here in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area. If you're thinking about making a move, the best thing to do is to book a strategy call with us so that we can deep dive into your budget, what you're looking for, what you want out of your home and the area that you live, so that we can make some personalized recommendations. You can find our contact information in the pinned link below this video. And if you're looking for more information about what it's like living here in Northeast Metro Atlanta area, you have to check out this video next.